Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to online classes and have a pleasant morning to all of you. Now, I, Ajay Kumar, your English teacher, is going to help you in doing exercise of third chapter trains. And I believe you all remember the summarization of this third poem, Trains, and you might have written in your notebook also. Okay? So let us move ahead and go through the exercises. One more question. Do you remember about Humayun Kabir, the writer of this story? You must write about him in the notebook as I have explained in the video. So if you want some more explanation, or if you want to recall that, if you have forgotten, then you have to go through the video once again. Okay, now let's go ahead with the exercises. Poem appreciation. On the basis of your understanding the poem, tick the most suitable option to complete the following statements. The first statement is: the poet feels that the train has no doors, no windows, no shining lamp, because I think we have discussed it in the class. The first option is it is moving in the dark. Is it correct? No. Yes, it was, but it is not the correct statement. It is moving with great speed. Yes, but it is not correct. He likes to imagine a train like this. Yes, but not correct. It is a goods train. This one is correct. Next question, next statement: the trains irritate the poets, amuse the poet, fascinate the poet, horrify the poet. The correct answer is yes. Write down the answer in the comment box. What is the answer? It's fascinate the poet. The correct answer is fascinate the poet. Now let's go through the answer of the following questions briefly. Why does the poet call the train tedious? Can you tell me the answer? Why does the poet call the train tedious? To know the answer of this question, we have to go back into the first stanza, right? We must go back to the first stanza where it has been said like, some are dark and journey tediously, right? The poet says, what the poet says, why does the poet call the train tedious? So the answer would be, the poet called the train tedious because it journeys for a long time and journeys to different directions without stopping, right? Now the next question: in the middle of a night, what does the train remind the poet of and why? In the middle of the night, what does the train remind of the poet and why? To know the answer of this, we have to go back and we have to find the answer, right? Do you remember the answer? Can you answer this question in the comment section? It says, in fourth stanza, it has been talked about the night, right? Sometimes at night in my sleep I hear the low distant rumble of the train. I rub my eyes and sit upon my bed, and beneath the light of the flickering moon moves the long shadowy outline far away, like a huge serpent crawling through the night, right? So in the middle of the night, what does the train remind the poet of and why? The answer for this second question is, the train remind the poet of a serpent crawling. A serpent crawling through the night. Okay. Now let's move to the third question. The poem ends with a question. Why do you think this question troubles or puzzles the poet? I have told you while teaching the poem that the poet starts the poem with a question and ends the poem with a question. So, why do you think this question troubles or puzzles the poet? What is the reason? Because he is more interested in knowing about the train's halt, right? He does not know where the trains halt when they stops, right? So that is the reason he is asking question. Now next question. Do you find trains fascinating? Give reason for your answer. Dear students, now for this question, I'll leave the this question for your answer. You have to answer it by your own. And if you find any trouble in answering this question, you may ask me in the comment section. I'll reply the answer of this question, but it should be given by your own, I think. Now let's move to the third question. Complete the table given below in order to understand the poem better. The poet compares the train to elephant, a marriage procession, a serpent. I told you, right? When a thing is compared with a non-living thing is compared with living thing, that is called simile. So in this poem you have seen many places, many places, in many lines, in many stanzas, things has been compared, right? So lines from the poem that show this, you have to write down the lines, characteristics that are similar or comparable, and literary devices. Okay, so you'll have to do it, and if you are having any problem in that, I will help you out. You may ask me privately. Okay, now we have completed this exercise, and if you are having any more question, you may ask me privately. You have my WhatsApp number, you can ask me privately. Okay, all right, dear students, so this was it. This was the end of today's session. We'll meet next day with new topic, new chapter. Till then, bye, take care, and have a nice day. Thank you.